Big Blue, stop right now. MetLife Stadium just exploded with breaking news. And one single number is already burning a hole through East Rutherford, 16.7. That is the exact percentage of carries where fan favorite Cam Skattebo gets stuffed at or behind the line of scrimmage. While second-year defensive tackle Darius Alexander is officially stepping into first-team spring reps under DC Denard Wilson. And John Harbaugh's recent locker room team speech just triggered a brutal wave of viral cringe across the entire league. Insiders warned us last night, and here is the immediate payoff. That 16.7 stuff rate makes Skattebo significantly more vulnerable to early down tackles than backup Tyrone Tracy Jr., who gets stopped behind the line just 13.6% of the time. If New York stands tall, the Eagles and Cowboys fall, so hit like and subscribe right now because Big Blue isn't playing around. We start with the backfield debate that has MetLife Stadium shaking. Stay locked, there's a double cliffhanger at the end. Whispers turned into footsteps, and the backfield debate in East Rutherford just reached a boiling point. The name? Tyrone Tracy Jr. And if you think the New York Giants can simply hand the keys to cult hero Cam Skattebo without a serious fight in training camp, you haven't been looking at the actual tape or the underlying analytics. We all love Skattebo's unhinged energy, his human-sized fire hydrant running style, and his relentless willingness to run through any linebacker standing in his path. But Skat is coming off a gruesome dislocated ankle and fractured tibia suffered in Week 8 against Philadelphia last season, an injury that cut short a promising debut where he averaged 4.05 yards per carry. Even after his viral backflip fail at Fanatics Fest reminded everyone of his reckless charisma, his ultra-physical approach naturally caps his big play upside and opens him up to constant wear and tear. Meanwhile, third-year back Tyrone Tracy Jr. has quietly put together back-to-back 1,000-yard scrimmage seasons, becoming the first Giants player to accomplish that feat in his first 2 years since Saquon Barkley. Tracy was drafted as the 166th pick in 2024 and was thrust into the lead role as a rookie when Barkley departed for Philadelphia, and he stepped up again when Skattebo went down last year. Tracy's speed and elite elusiveness give the offense a completely different dimension in open space. He averages 4.2 yards per carry, but more importantly, his stuff rate, the percentage of times a running back is stopped at or behind the line of scrimmage, is a clean 13.6% compared to Skattebo's 16.7%. Tracy spent his early college years as a wide receiver and possesses legit 4.4 speed, meaning he can line up wide or run wheel routes against linebackers all day. Running analyst Matt Sidney recently suggested that Big Blue should flip the dynamic, giving Tracy 55% of the lead snaps while letting Skattebo act as a Mariano Rivera style closer in the fourth quarter to break defensive wills. Keeping Skattebo fresh for late-game situations prevents him from taking unnecessary wear and tear early in drives, turning him into an absolute nightmare against tired defenses in the final 15 minutes. When you look at how modern NFL offenses operate, having an explosive primary back who doesn't get tackled behind the line of scrimmage is the key to staying out of second and long situations. Tracy consistently picks up positive yards on first down, keeping John Harbaugh's playbook wide open and allowing Jackson Dart to utilize play-action passing effectively. On the other hand, if Skattebo is forced into a heavy 40-carry workload coming off major leg surgery, the risk of re-injury or efficiency drop-off spikes exponentially. The Giants cannot afford to lose their short yardage hammer before the playoff push even begins. A 55-45 snap split favoring Tracy keeps both backs healthy, explosive, and hyper-efficient throughout a grueling 17-game regular season schedule. It might be a tough pill for the fanbase to swallow because Skattebo's violent highlight reel is irresistible to watch, but winning football games requires pragmatic personnel decisions rather than fan-favorite sentimentality. Do you think Tyrone Tracy Jr. should be our starting lead back over Cam Skattebo? Drop your answer in the comments below. If you believe this backfield tandem can shock the entire NFC East this year, smash that like button right now. But as heated as the running back debate is getting, our defensive front is facing a massive breakout test that could define our entire front seven. Scouts called his physical potential limitlessly explosive, but the defensive coaching staff just delivered a high-stakes directive. A move 2 years in the making, or a raw defensive prospect finally stepping into the spotlight? The identity everyone's asking about? Darius Alexander, and the locker room is expecting him to carry a massive load. When general manager Joe Schoen drafted the 6'4", 310-pound defensive tackle with the 65th overall pick out of Toledo, expectations were sky-high for him to become an anchor. However, an undisclosed injury hampered Alexander throughout his rookie spring and summer, severely delaying his transition to the speed of the NFL level. Through week 11 of his rookie campaign, Alexander produced a meager 9 total tackles and half a sack, never logging more than 28 snaps in a single contest. But then came November 23rd in Motor City against the Detroit Lions. Alexander exploded with 2 sacks and 3 quarterback pressures in an overtime thriller, flashing the rare power and raw explosiveness that made him a top-tier draft prospect. Over his final 6 games, he racked up 3 sacks, 8 total pressures, and 6 defensive stops, building serious momentum heading into the offseason. Now, ESPN analyst Ben Solak has officially named Alexander as a top breakout candidate for 2026, and the coaching staff rewarded him with first-team reps throughout spring practices. With Dexter Lawrence no longer clogging the interior, new defensive coordinator Denard Wilson needs Alexander to evolve from a flash player into a dominant week-in and week-out run stopper. Alexander possesses supreme versatility to play multiple techniques along the defensive line. But questions remain about his consistency against power running schemes. Wilson's defense relies heavily on interior linemen who can eat double teams without giving up ground, allowing linebackers to flow freely to the football. If Alexander takes that next step in year 2, he elevates the entire front 7 into an elite unit. If he stalls, the defensive interior becomes a major vulnerability against divisional opponents. The physical transformation Alexander underwent during the offseason is already generating buzz inside the facility, as he added lean muscle while improving his hand placement technique to shed blocks faster. In Denard Wilson's attacking scheme, defensive tackles are not just asked to hold space. They are expected to penetrate the backfield and disrupt plays before they develop. Alexander's rare combination of size and quickness gives him the capability to collapse the pocket from the inside, which is the fastest way to rattle elite quarterbacks in the NFC East like Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. When an interior rusher demands extra attention from guards and centers, it opens up clean one-on-one matchups on the edge for our pass rushers. The jump from year 1 to year 2 is historically where defensive linemen make their biggest leap in technical mastery, and Alexander has all the momentum on his side following his strong finish in Detroit. If he proves he can anchor the defense against heavy gap runs, Big Blue will have answered one of its biggest lingering offseason questions without needing to splash huge money in free agency. Can Darius Alexander replace the missing interior production and become a star defensive tackle this year? Let me know in the comments if you trust him in the starting lineup. Hit that like button if you believe our defense is about to dominate the trench warfare. But while the defense builds its physical foundation, our new head coach just ignited a massive media firestorm that has fans across the country cringing. A high-pressure speech with zero room to hide from the cameras. The question wasn't whether John Harbaugh would bring passion, but how the locker room and the media would react to his message. The name? John Harbaugh. The 63-year-old Super Bowl-winning head coach arrived in East Rutherford to replace a losing culture and rebuild a franchise coming off a pitiful 4-13 record that left them at the bottom of the NFC East. But footage released from a recent team meeting at the Giants facility has sent social media into an absolute tailspin. Addressing his players in the meeting room, Harbaugh leaned heavily into raw emotion, saying, "Man, good to see everybody here. Excited? A little nervous? Nervous like before a kickoff. Standing up here in front of the New York Giants, it's an honor. There is a New York Giant sitting in every seat in this room. Wow, it's an honor." The reaction from NFL fans online was immediate and ruthless, with thousands calling the speech the cringiest moment of the offseason and predicting another 5-win season for Big Blue. Fans on X piled on with comments like "literally cringed watching this bro" and "this has 5 to 6 wins all over it," while others noted that after the Knicks' recent championship success, New York sports fans cannot tolerate awkward speeches. Some analysts argued that the flat reaction in the room reflected poorly on the players' passion, claiming the roster looked too cool for school, while their new leader tried to ignite a spark. However, inside the building, veterans understand that Harbaugh's proven championship resume from Baltimore is built on relentless work ethic and discipline, not theatrical speeches. Harbaugh emphasized that the coaching staff has been working early and staying late to prepare the roster for the upcoming battle against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 1. What casual fans online fail to realize is that early training camp speeches are designed to lay the emotional brickwork for grueling 2-a-day practices in August. Harbaugh has won at the highest level of this sport, lifting the Lombardi Trophy in 2013 with Baltimore, and his intensity is built on a decade and a half of sustained excellence. The awkward silence in the meeting room isn't necessarily a sign of rebellion. It is the sound of a young roster learning what real accountability feels like under a Hall of Fame caliber coach. When a program transitions from a losing environment to a championship culture, there is always an adjustment period where players must shed old habits and embrace uncomfortable standards. Leaders inside the facility must step up and embrace Harbaugh's physical culture before the games begin for real in September. If the team starts winning games in September, nobody in East Rutherford will care about how a summer speech sounded on Twitter. Do you think Harbaugh's speech was genuinely motivating, or was it as cringy as social media is making it out to be? Sound off in the comments below and hit subscribe if you stand behind Big Blue no matter what the critics say. But hold on to your seats because the combination of these three storylines is about to unleash absolute chaos across the NFC East. Three massive headlines, one defining crossroad for the New York Giants, the backfield battle between Tyrone Tracy Jr. and Cam Skattebo offers a lethal two-headed monster if deployed correctly. Darius Alexander holds the key to our defensive line's ceiling, and John Harbaugh is laying down a hard-nosed foundation despite the national noise. John Harbaugh did not come to East Rutherford to win popularity contests on social media. He came to win football games by out-hustling and out-hitting every opponent on the schedule. If Tracy and Skattebo form a dominant dynamic duo, if Alexander secures the interior alongside our pass rushers, and if the locker room fully buys into Harbaugh's tough-minded culture, the Giants are primed to shock the entire football world in 2026. Philadelphia is retooling, Dallas is vulnerable under pressure, and Washington is facing second-year regression. The door to the NFC East is wide open for a team willing to play mean, physical football. But here is what I need from Big Blue Nation right now. 1. Smash that like button if you believe John Harbaugh will prove all the online doubters wrong this season. 2. Drop a comment with your exact prediction for Darius Alexander's sack total in 2026. Will he get 5, 7, or 10 sacks? 3. Subscribe to the channel immediately because every new subscriber proves that Big Blue fans are the loudest and most loyal fan base in the entire NFL. But listen closely because the ultimate cliffhanger is unfolding right behind the scenes as we speak. Rumors are swirling that Joe Schoen is actively shopping a mid-round draft pick to secure an additional veteran running back before training camp intensifies, which could completely upend the touch distribution for both Tracy and Skattebo. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys just held a secret workout with a veteran defensive tackle specifically brought in to disrupt our new running scheme in Week 1. Which domino falls first, New York's surprise trade or Dallas's counter move? That story drops next. Big Blue stands mighty. Hit subscribe, stay locked, and watch our rivals crumble. See you in the next war.